I've been killing a lot of grass for 44 years, and it's been a riot, absolute riot. I never even guessed that I would be able to do stuff like I do now. And
Well, tell us a little bit about Envu. You got a new lineup,
we're in the business of making and creating new products.
Terradex crabgrass and broadleaf, the Terradex Quick Strike, the Terradex Power Premix. Explain the differences between those.
Terradex will be, I think in the future, will be our go-to herbicide brand name.
There's a lot of folks in our industry that start mowing grass, then inevitably the customer is going to say, hey, can you get rid of all these weeds? And they're intimidated. They're like, well, so what would you say to someone who's thinking about becoming a lawn care operator? And
start small. Start on your lawn, your parents' lawn, your neighbor's lawn. The next place I would go is your...
Welcome to today's podcast. We're going to talk about crabgrass, dandelions, broadleaf weeds, and much more. Our special guest today attended Purdue University. Now he's over there in Lincoln, Nebraska. He's a Big Ten guy, I guess. Dr. Zac Reicher, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate the invite.
So for those who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'll go backwards, Paul. Right now I work with Envu, which was Bayer. I've been doing this for about the last 9 years. I cover everything west of the Mississippi for a technical guy, for the technical side of the business. And prior to that, I taught at University of Nebraska for 5 years, went to school and taught at Purdue for 22 years, went to Iowa State, killed my first set of greens when I was 15 years old. I've been killing a lot of grass for 44 years, and it's been a riot, absolute riot. Loved it.
Now,
I'm very lucky.
Purdue in Nebraska, what did you teach in the classroom?
So I was a turf grass specialist, and so I taught professional turf grass management. I would taught primarily the senior level classes, which is cool because the students were old enough you could talk the talk and walk the walk, and you didn't have to teach all the basic stuff. And so I taught mostly the senior level classes, and that's the one thing I do miss about that being in the university anymore. The students were just so much fun, and now I get to travel the country and I run into students everywhere. It's just just a small town kid, Dyersville, Iowa. When I took that job at 15 years old on the local golf course, I never even guessed that I would be able to do stuff like I do now. And it has just been an absolute blast for the last 44 years or so. Been a riot.
I'm an avid golfer. What golf course did you get your start on there at age 15? And then I'm sure you got some golf stories for what you do.
Dyersville Golf and Country Club. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Is that the John Deere course?
No, that's the Dyersville, Iowa. That's where the movie Field of Dreams was filmed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the golf course. I was trying to ring a bell with the golf course. I've never played golf in Iowa.
It is a great little track, 9-hole course. It's a great track, absolutely fabulous, just a great little layout. And they fired the pro superintendent, and I had just applied for a job as an hourly kid. My sister was going to school at Iowa State, so I was the 15-year-old kid that knew the most about turf because my sister was a student. And they fired the pro superintendent, so they hired me, and the guy they put in charge of the course was the town veterinarian. So we were just bound for success. And so I think within 10 days, we had 8 out of the 10 greens killed.
Wow.
Yeah. Idiotic. In hindsight, yeah. But
now,
do as I say, not as I do. That's a famous last words. So
over the years, have you got to see any cool golf courses or interact with any superintendents?
Paul, this business has been so great. The superintendents, the golf courses I get to be on, the lawn care operators. It is such a generous, unselfish industry, and so it is just an absolute blast. It's just so much fun. Both the golf course guys I've been on, you name the course, I've been on it. I have pictures from all over the place. I don't play. I used to be a 2 handicap. I don't play at all anymore. It just takes too much time. I bow hunt now instead, and fish. And so, but yeah, it's just too much fun. I made some lucky decisions, Paul. I mean, just like you did probably. Who would know that you would be, the raging success that you are now?
It's been a wild ride for me as well with this podcast. Well, tell us a little bit how you go from Purdue to Bayer. Which is now you guys have Envu is branched off. Explain that transition of your life.
So I was at Purdue. I was enjoying myself. We built a turf program there and built a brand new turf center. Had a great time. 22 years. Made the mistake of marrying another faculty member at Purdue. My wife Kim is a landscape architect, a really good landscape architect, and she had the opportunity to go to Nebraska, University of Nebraska, be a director of the program out there. And she said, "Hey, Zach, you interested?" And so with Nebraska's reputation, in the turf program, great reputation, I knew that they had an opening because Bob Sherman was retiring. And so, got a little lucky and we ended up in Nebraska. Nebraska joined the Big Ten right at the same time. So we stayed within the Big Ten. It was perfect. Everything was good.
The
So
Nebraska had their glory days back in Tom Osborne days, man. I don't know what's happened since
it's just,
Frank Solich.
I know this isn't quite the football podcast, Paul. It's just a different world now. It's just a different world, different expectations. And now with the NIL, and now we're going to start paying students, the transfer portal, boy, yeah, no thanks. I'll stick with my gig.
You got it. You do have a beautiful football stadium out there. I walked
Yeah.
Lincoln, Nebraska. Was it Memorial Stadium there?
Yep. Yep.
That was awesome. They wouldn't let me on. I was asking the guy at the game, I was like, can I like walk on the field? And they were actually having practice. So they were top secret. They wouldn't let me on the field, but
Paul, that's the other cool gig. Part of this, as a former professor, as a turf specialist, I have been in so many stadiums, on the field, whether it's football field or a baseball field. I almost take it for granted, but I have just been so lucky. It's so much fun. So much fun.
real quickly, name a couple stadiums and a couple golf courses. You were kind of vague. I'm curious the exact
Let's see, a
stadium,
couple.
fields, courses.
So I've been on just a couple weeks ago. Well, just last week I was on Seattle Golf Club, Furcrest. Those are in Seattle. Been on all the Pebble Beach courses, Augusta. Been
Wow.
all the really nice courses in Hawaii. All the college Big Ten athletic fields.
What's
Notre
your
Dame.
opinion of Augusta National Golf Club? Their
It's
turf.
cool. It's cool. Absolutely impressive what they do. And, we can argue about all the politics behind it and all that, whatever. But in terms of pure golf, a pressure cooker, it doesn't get much better than that. It's impressive.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about Envu. You got a new lineup of cool season herbicides. I was watching your webinar
Yep.
this morning explaining all of that. Share with us a little bit of information about that.
And so it's been a wild ride. We have all the same horsepower that we had with Bear, but now we're focused almost entirely on turf and ornamentals. Where in the past we were focused primarily on agriculture, and then we would get the dribbles and drags of what was left after corn and cotton and soybeans and so on. And so now we have a chance. It's a fast ride. We have all the products, the Spectacles and the Tartans and the Mirages, all the products that we had before, but now we're branching into newer products. We're still staying primarily as a proprietary branded company, but in the short term, we're investing in post-patent AIs just to fill a few of the gaps in our portfolio. And so what's coming out this year, mostly, we have 5 products that are coming out this year that fill a hole in our portfolio, but then we'll take those products and start working our Envu magic on those, and you'll start seeing in the big picture different versions of those as we go. So we're still a proprietary company. We're in the business of making and creating new products.
And a lot of this expansion is into cool season herbicides.
We've always been the leader in warm season herbicides. Spectacle is a pre-emergent herbicide. Tribute Total, Revolver, Celsius Extra, really big in the warm season world. But we've always been a little short on cool season. Basically, we've had Acclaim Extra and Progress. That's about it. And so there is a huge gap. Truth be told, we probably weren't servicing the lawn care market as well as we should have, especially the cool season side of the market. And so we figured out we have to do something. We always had Merit, which is a great product, but outside of that, and so this was our first foray in, not our first, but we've expanded our foray into cool season herbicides, looking at really summer applications. These are not the products that we're coming out with, are not the really inexpensive 3-way products that you would use in the fall in a lawn care operation. These are more summer applications when weather is difficult, weeds starting to harden off, tougher to control. And so these are more effective midsummer, early summer, late summer type products.
Got it. Tell us a little bit more about the Acclaim Accelerate.
So Acclaim Accelerate's an interesting one. Our marketing folks, they like the Acclaim because it has a great reputation. It's phenoxyprop, a great crabgrass, goosegrass, stiltgrass product. And so let's play off that name and we'll call it Acclaim Accelerate. But it doesn't contain phenoxyprop at all. It actually just contains quinclorac, which you'd also find all over the industry and drive, things like that. So a little bit different about this one, has a slightly different formulation adjuvant. And so it makes it a little bit quicker in terms of rain fastness, a little bit better in controlling those mid-stage crabgrass, the 2 to 3 up to 4 to 5 tiller stage, that problematic crabgrass. And it works better early on in drought stress. You're not going to control weeds in drought, but early on, you're on a lawn, first signs of drought stress, things are starting to turn a little blue, but it'll still control the crabgrass.
I'm looking here at the webinar, the Terradex crabgrass and broadleaf, the Terradex Quick Strike, the Terradex Power Premix. Explain the differences between those.
Yeah, and so Terradex is the name that the marketing folks came up with, and I'm a scientist, I'm not a marketing guy, and so no disrespect to those guys, and so they came up with the Terradex name, and so this Terradex will be, I think in the future, will be our go-to herbicide brand name, and then there'll also always be a tagline after that, best I can tell. And so the crabgrass and broadleaf, that contains quinclorac again, and then 2,4-D and dicamba. And so that's a perfect, right about now, you're starting to see breakthroughs where either you didn't get good pre-emergent control, or in hot spots you have a combination of crabgrass and spurge and knotweed, whatever. And so that's a perfect product to go in there. One product, keep it simple. It controls both crabgrass as well, it'll control foxtail as well as young, or as well as broadleaf weeds. And so that's crabgrass and broadleaf. The Quick Strike is really right in the wheelhouse of lawn care operators, good or bad. We're all asked to, I want the weeds controlled and I want them controlled yesterday. And so, you've done it. Clients, they just don't have the patience that, scientists and agronomists would give people. And so that contains sulfentrazone. And so that'll provide burn down. You'll start, depending on the temperature and the humidity and so on, you'll start seeing burn down within 24, 48 hours. And so Quick Strike, by its name, it's a fast acting product. And that's really, really built for clients, for lawn care operators that have clients that are less than patience, might not have the patience that you and I have, Paul. So, and then the last one is Power Premix. And so by its name, Power, it has, it's a pretty strong little herbicide. It's got triclopirin. And triclopyr has always been, for 30 years, has been my go-to for anything problematic in broadleaf weeds, anything that spreads, knotweed, violets, ground ivy, or if they have any woody in them, poison ivy, maybe tree seedlings, depending on the mowing height and so on. It has triclopirin, and so that one's a really good product. You can use it in the spring, but that's probably, you can use that one deep into the fall with that triclopyr in it. And so a broad range of broadleaves. And so, but that one has triclopyr, and so that one's probably better on more difficult weeds.
And when will these cool season herbicides be available to market, and how does someone get them? How can an operator get them?
So you can get them all. You can get them, all of them, through the vast majority of our current distributors are also carrying these. And so anywhere you've bought Spectacle or Acclaim or anything like that, you can get it through your distributor. We have 50 some distributors out there that do it. They are available right now. The only caveat is that the regulatory agencies in some states are a little bit slower. And so places like, New York, California, certainly, they might not have them ready just because it's a regulatory issue. But contact your distributor. They should be able to help you out really easily.
Why we got you and all your expertise. I know in your class.
Thanks for the compliment.
you work with the scientists and top level superintendents and these smart students, but there's a lot of folks in our industry that start mowing grass, mowing, edge and trim and blowing, and then inevitably the customer is going to say, "Hey, can you get rid of all these weeds?" And they're intimidated. They're like, "Well, where do I start?" And they spray the. I mean, you've burnt some putting greens. I've burnt some yards, like beautiful Bermuda and zoysia yards, and then you can just get kind of frozen.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's thinking about becoming a lawn care operator and applicator?
So Paul, that is a really good question. And you could use that same question if, say you want to get into contracting or construction or plumbing or welding or whatever. And, unfortunately about the best way to do it, Google everything you can find, YouTube everything you can find, just read, watch, find everything you can do. And then start small. Start on, your lawn, your parents' lawn, your neighbor's lawn. You're probably going to make some mistakes. And I probably wouldn't quit my day job right off the bat. I would I'm pretty conservative. And so I'd keep my day job and then I'd just start experimenting. And, there's so much good information on the web. There's so many good universities that have just a ton of information. And then depending on the state, often you have to serve as a registered technician for a current lawn care company in order to get your licensing and things like that. Just depends on the state. So after you read everything, probably the next place I would go is your regulatory agency of the state and find out how you can get a license to treat lawns for hire because you want to get paid. And again, every state's a little bit different. And so those are probably the two ways I would do it. And then thirdly, I would just keep listening. I would go to conferences. I would go, to the local turf conferences, national turf conferences, listen to your show. I would just nonstop talk to people. You're going to make some mistakes like we all do. I burnt up lawns. Trust me, my own lawn, but it comes back. But yeah, it's just like any other job. Get in there, pitch.
I attend a wonderful event in February in Alabama. Jason Creole hosted, and the keynote speakers, Alan Hain, the lawn care nut,
Yep.
and they can answer any questions you guys have if you're newer to applying all of these chemicals and doing it the right way. What's been the biggest mistake you've seen, whether it's on a golf course or a stadium or a homeowner's yard? You probably have the crazy story. What's the craziest story?
I got some great pictures. So literally the only way we can kill grass is by applying something wrong to it, either a high rate or the wrong product or whatever. And so now in my business, I get all sorts of, I just applied this, was it okay? type of questions. And sometimes it's wasn't okay. And there's just not a thing you can do. You just have to suck it up and start reseeding or resprigging. And so be really careful when you're applying something. And when you are applying something, keep it simple. Don't put 3, 4, 5, 8 things in the tank. Keep it really simple early on until you understand it. It's like, again, we'll go back to welding. You don't take up welding and start doing underwater welding. You gradually learn how to weld. So keep it simple.
Very well said. Well, is there anything we're leaving out here that needs addressed, or anything else that you want to share about Terradex or Acclaim Accelerate?
Yeah, the only other thing I just thought of this now is, in the last, probably the biggest change that I've seen in the lawn care world is the ride-on sprayers, ride-on sprayer and spreaders. And when they first came out, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, they were pretty primitive, but now they're great, accurate. They keep old guys like me in the game because they're not pushing an 80-pound spreader across the lawn. And so those things really work well. All four of these products that I talked about today, they can be applied at these low volumes because they're spraying about half a gallon per thousand. And so all of these will fit very easily through a ride-on sprayer. And so as a new young kid, consider investing in a ride-on sprayer. It'll make your job, make it last a lot longer.
Very well said. Well, Dr. Zac, I appreciate your time today, and I think we covered everything. But is there any final clothing thoughts you want to share, or also remind everyone how they can get the Envu products?
Yeah, again, go to your distributor and watch your social media. There'll be a bunch of stuff on social media. We'll have some giveaways on social media for these products, and so watch for that. And just talk to your distributor that you currently buy from, and they should be aware of these products. And if not, you could always go to our just Google for Envu and look up cool season herbicides or Terradex or anything like that. And the internet will get you there.